To the Office of the Judge Advocate General. March 25, 0F2023. To the Office of the Judge Advocate General. 1322 Patterson Avenue, Suite 3000 Washington Navy Yard, DC 20374, 5066. Dear Sirs, since 1864, your office has been operating under a foreign command merely presumed to have authority based on the British Parliament's Naval Agency and Distributions Act. This has led to inappropriate legal presumptions and individual acts of impersonation, barratry, extortion under color of law, and attacks against members of the American general public carried out in pursuit of illegal commercial mercenary actions and hypothecations of debt and phony salvage operations carried out by the British Territorial United States government operating as a service corporation based in Puerto Rico. In May of 1865, the Rump Congress of the same British Territorial United States, soon to begin operations as a Scottish commercial corporation infringing on our trademarks and doing business as the United States of America, Incorporated, in 1868, established 10 unauthorized military districts and equally unauthorized military district courts in 11 southern states. These carpetbagger courts were organized for the purpose of collecting war reparations and were supposed to sunset when our civilian courts resumed operations, ex parte Milligan, 1866. Instead, the American public was kept in the dark and you fellows expanded your illegal and unauthorized military districts to cover all the states of the Union, and you began a campaign of commercial terrorism that has continued unabated to this day. We are requesting the liquidation of your corporations and the liquidation of these unauthorized courts and foreign military districts. It has never been our intention to be occupied by foreign commercial mercenary forces in our own employment. While the American people have been owed the law of peace this entire time, we find that you have instead endeavored to mischaracterize and falsely register Americans under color of law as U.S. citizens, and then also contrived to construct additional false identities for us as municipal corporations operated under various phony names, for example, James Allen Root, a phony municipal estate trust, or James A. Root, a phony municipal public transmitting utility, or Root, James Allen, an intestate infant decedent estate, or other variations designated as special purpose vehicles, etc. It's all nothing but constructive fraud, and more fraud against your employers. This has been done to create implied public trust interests for yourselves and to allow yourselves to concoct non-consensual services, allowing hypothecation of debt under admiralty salvage rules that do not and cannot logically apply. These acts of theft and force against your loyal employers are made the more disgusting by your long-term intransigence and refusal to correct your operations. We demand the removal of the Civil War-era military districts from our states of the Union and the closure of the associated quasi-military district courts, which have been liberally misaddressing members of the American general public, as if we were British subjects or municipal citizens or otherwise obligated to serve you in a citizenship capacity. These gross acts of criminal malfeasance and misadministration are in violation of international law and the treaties of Vienna and are being carried out by your offices as cloaked commercial mercenary operations on our shores. Members of the Bar Association, a registered theater and entertainment company, have been employed to provide an appearance of justice, while you have continued to act as inland pirates and privateers against your own employers. These ridiculous entities operating phony courts on our shores have a conviction rate of over 96% and are continuing to try to foist off the 14th Amendment of a Scottish commercial corporation constitution as the basis of their authority, more than 100 years after that same Scottish commercial corporation went bankrupt. They get kickbacks to their CRIS pension fund for every conviction. Apparently, we keep you as ornaments to sit on your rumps and bilk your employers? Is that your theory of how things are supposed to work? The Privy Council, the Government of Westminster, and the British Territorial United States are all in gross breach of trust and in violation of your presumed to exist commercial services contract. You should all be shamed worldwide and in public. Everyone everywhere should know just how dishonest, irresponsible, criminal, and lawless the British government and in particular, the British Admiralty, really is. You should all be embarrassed to the core, stripped naked, and paraded through the streets. It is the responsibility of the Provost Marshal, never intended to be a JAG officer, but nonetheless now part of your self-assumed responsibility, to protect the interests of the American civilians who are non-combatant, non-debtors, who have been mercilessly attacked by a plethora of unauthorized and fanciful foreign courts, exercising legislative prerogatives that are supposed to be limited to the internal operations of these same service providers, and their corporate officers and personnel. Instead, you've let these petty dictators and commercial concerns run rampant, as if they were the government of this country and as if everyone here was subject to your discretion. Time to wipe that idea right out of your minds, right now. There isn't a single thing in any constitution, treaty, or commercial services contract anywhere providing you or your government with any right to misaddress Americans and issue mandates related to our private health, our assets, or anything else. What we are, sirs, is fed up, in session, and we have our civilian courts in order, ready to prosecute. You need to correct your own erring employees and provide them with sufficient and correct instruction, so that we don't have to continue this conversation. You need to shut down the CRIS system and the kickbacks. You need to send the bar associations home before we catch up to them. We are your employers, not your subjects or mates, not municipal citizens, not anyone or anything but Americans in full possession of our history, our individual written express trusts, our published identity, and our public law. Any misunderstanding about this needs to be cleared up immediately and the law of peace universally imposed upon every court related to your offices and operations. Your JAG officers need to hit the streets and close these phony courts down without further ado, and you need to work with us to do it in a peaceable and responsible manner. We are standing right here, four square, in your faces, and we are ready and able to answer any questions you may have about who we are, what our authority is, and why you need to straighten up your operations on our shores. By Anna Maria Riesinger, Fiduciary the United States of America, and no, we are not incorporated now or ever. Box 520994 Big Lake, Alaska 99652 Avonavon @gmail.com. 907-250-5087.